Hey, we got the Mighty Manfred back. And it is time to get your coolest conversations happening. And with me today is Kris Rodgers from Kris Rodgers and the Dirty Gems. How are you, Kris?
Doing good, man. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm very happy to be speaking with you. Now, you are an educated man, right? You went to the Berklee College of Music.
That's
And
correct, yeah.
what has music college got to do with rock and roll? Why is that better than the School of Hard Knocks?
I don't, sometimes I don't know. I think the biggest thing that I got out of going to college was just like finding all these different styles of music.
Yeah.
And in Berkeley is a very contemporary school, so it's not like, you're not getting Mozart drilled down your throat as you would maybe in other schools. And so I got to do, I took a lot of classes on like early rock and roll and just like all the bands and that, helped shape rock and roll and all that kind of stuff. It was pretty cool, actually.
Well, do you think that going there means that it's not really necessary for you to have to sleep on floors and have to, continually smell your band members sweat in a 15-year-old van?
No, I sleep on floors all the time.
You do pretty well just doing music, right? Because one thing I wind up asking people is with this balance between, their music and then whatever they have to do just to make ends meet. But you support yourself wholly through your music?
Yeah, I sort of taken the route that the typical Billy Joel piano man sort of thing, and I play a lot of piano bars, and I played like the dueling piano bars that you see in the bigger cities like Boston, and then I play in a bunch of different bands, and have a country band I play with that I play a lot with, and I play in a cover band called Vinyl Tap up here, and we just play a bunch of cover songs like old rock and roll, Elton John and Stevie Wonder and Steve Winwood, stuff like that.
What is you mentioned a dueling piano bar? What is that?
It's just like two grand pianos on a stage, and there's two piano players up there singing and playing, and it's just basically it's requests all night long. And they say it's a dueling piano bar because people think that the pianos are dueling each other, but in reality, what you do is get the crowd really involved and get sort of the crowd dueling against each other. It's kind of hard to explain, but
it's like professional wrestling. You are a musical professional wrestler. That's what you're telling me, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah. It's probably the closest thing to work I do that, that's the only gig I have that I really feel like I'm at work when I'm doing it. But
so we're talking about all these different groups you're playing with. I want to know, how did you wind up with Kurt Baker? Because you play in the Kurt Baker band too, right?
Yeah. It was probably 4 or 5 years ago now. Kurt and I both played in a band that was, I guess, like a power pop band. We played in the band for maybe like 3 months or something like that. It was really short-lived. Nothing really ever happened with it. But it was in between when Kurt was in between the Leftovers and the Kurt Baker band. Mm-hmm. And when that band kind of split up, I kind of just joined Kurt's band as well. And yeah, Kurt and I just got along really well and had a lot of the same musical interests and influences.
Well, he has moved to Spain. Is that?
Yeah.
I understand. Last time I saw the guy, he was like in Madrid, so that was a surprise. He moved to Spain,
yeah.
And he was telling me that the rent in Madrid was no more expensive than living in downtown Portland. So, did you have any gumption to go to Spain, to move to Spain with Kurt?
I mean, I would if I had the opportunity, for sure. I don't ever think about it really, but I love living in Portland. I know Kurt didn't like it too much, but I don't mind it. And but basically all my work is here, so it's kind of tough for me to leave.
Right.
But I love Madrid. I love Spain.
You've also got a connection to the connection. I mean, the connection, Kurt Baker band, you were the Dirty Gems. Is there like 8 guys up there in between Portland and Portsmouth, and you form a billion different bands, or what? Tell me first, what is the connection to the connection?
Jeff Palmer from the Connection has been playing in the Kurt Baker band since the band started, and he was in the Guts, which was a band that played with the Leftovers, Kurt's old band, for many times over the years. And they were in the same studio that we were in doing some stuff, we were doing some single stuff, And I think the first song I played on for the connection was their cover of Seven Nights to Rock.
Yeah.
And it just, I would play on a couple songs on an album that they did. And then when they put out Let It Rock, they just wanted piano and organ and stuff on everything. So I kind of became like an unofficial member of the band.
Well, between, Kurt Baker Band, Connection, these your gigs that you need to do to make ends meet, when do you find the time to really focus on Kris Rodgers and the Dirty Gems?
Well, honestly, it's since Kurt went to Spain, I've basically filled the void that we would be doing stuff with Kurt with the Dirty Gems. And because when Kurt lived here, we were really busy doing stuff all the time. So I did have time a little bit for the Dirty Gems, but it was tough. And since Kurt moved to Spain, I just had this kind of gap in my musical life or whatever. So
and you quickly filled it.
Yeah, well, I figured this was the time to do it because I didn't know what because we're all pretty serious about the Kurt Baker Band and stuff, so I didn't know what the plan was, and I really wanted to get this off the ground and in the right direction that I wanted to go in.
Well, let's talk about the new album, Headlines, and Headlines is also the track that the coolest song of the world this week. Tell me about that song. What's the inspiration for it, and is there any specific instance?
Yeah, it's about somebody that I know up here in Maine that just kind of bugs me a lot. But the idea of the song I got from Ian McLagan.
Mm-hmm.
His album, he has an album called Here Comes Trouble that came out a few years ago, and he has a song called Headlines, and it's very like similar as far as the subject matter. And I'm a big fan of Ian McLagan's and all that, 60s rock and the Faces and Small Faces and stuff. So I fell in love with that idea and just decided to make a song out of it. And then I liked it so much, so that's what the album's called.
Oh, very cool. So what about when and where did you get the album recorded?
I did it. I have a studio here in Portland called Standish Rock City, and it's just like my own home studio. I did most of it there. I did some drums with a guy named John Wyman who's worked on a bunch of Kurt stuff before too. Craig Sala played drums on the album. He's played on the Connection albums before, and he's played on Kurt stuff. And Kurt played bass on the album. I had Jeff Palmer play a guitar part or two on there as well. So it's like you were saying before, we're kind of like this big family.
That's right, an extended family. Yeah. Well, let's see. I want to hear another track from the record. Then we'll go out on that. Keep On Knocking is what we'll play here in a moment. What can you tell me about that cut?
Well, that's a cover from a mid-'70s Detroit band called Death. And I play kind of weird. I play in a country band with a guy, but the guy that plays guitar in that band is a big punk rocker. And him and I got talking about Death one day, and I kind of went back and like re-listened to some of the songs, and I thought that Keep On Knocking is a great song, and it'd be cool to kind of put like a Huey Lewis kind of spin on it.
Very cool. Hey, Kris, thank you so much for talking with me as part of our coolest conversations. And let's give a listen now to Keep On Knocking here in Little Steven's Underground Garage.